Vicki Liviakis. Welcome to Body Beautiful. This is a show where we talk with local professionals about the latest in cosmetic procedures, medical devices. We also take your calls live on the air. And with us today, we have acupuncturist Bina, and we're talking about, okay, get this, how acupuncture treats infertility. Later, we'll be taking your calls, answering any questions you might have. The phone number, 800-440-4884. We'll also be posting the phone number to Bina's office, so be ready to jot that down. And before we get started, of course, any advice we give you today, you certainly want to consult your own physician as well. Welcome back to the program, Bina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is kind of, I raised an eyebrow a little bit because, I'm familiar with acupuncture, and it really can do a lot of things. I don't know too much about how it treats infertility, and I'm sure that got a lot of people's attention.
Right. It's pretty amazing. Acupuncture has been around as the only medical system in China. So it is used for a wide variety of things. Where in the States, it's pretty much been just pain up until recently. So a large part of my practice is infertility or fertility issues.
And can I just, can you summarize exactly how does that work? Because,
sure.
Science has jumped into the fertility game, and there's certainly so much we can do with in vitro fertilization and whatnot, but this really doesn't have anything to do with that.
No,
correct?
Well, with acupuncture, you're working in three ways, and I've sort of translated from a very Chinese medical statements into something that people can understand more in general. So when you have acupuncture, it does three things. First thing it does is it increased blood circulation to the genital region. And by doing this, it increases uterine blood flow, which is very important. It helps with follicular production. It increases the uterine lining, and it helps improve the ovarian functions in general.
So does this treat infertility in men and women?
Both, and it works in the same way for both. So first let's look at what infertility, or what are the causes of infertility. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the most common reason a woman cannot have a child is because she's not ovulating. That's followed by fallopian tube blockages, pelvic inflammatory disease, endometriosis, structural problems with the uterus or uterine fibroids. Well, acupuncture can help with all these issues except for the structural problem. That's something we can't touch. But
so if I understand it correctly, a lot of the ways that we treat infertility are outside the body.
Yes.
In Western medicine,
right.
And in Chinese medicine with the acupuncture, you're actually trying to rebalance the body so it can do its job.
Right, it can do its own thing. So it's a regulatory function. We help the body regulate itself. So in fact, we don't treat infertility, but what we do is we optimize health. And if you're in good health, if your body's healthy, there's no reason why you can't conceive a child.
There is a dichotomy. When you don't want to conceive, it seems like it happens quite easily, and when you do, the harder you try, the more elusive it is.
Right, exactly. And part of that is that stress plays such a big part.
I meant to ask you about that.
That is huge. Stress will shut down the functioning of the endocrine system, and it's the balance between the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the adrenal glands, the thyroid, and the reproductive organs. They create this beautiful balance that creates a fertile landscape where you can have a child. But stress comes in and it shuts the whole thing down, and then you have an issue, right? Then you're having issues with infertility.
Right, and so often the family doctor will say that, listen, you guys, why don't you just go take a nice vacation, go to Hawaii, relax about it,
exactly.
And, if you do, then nature will take its course.
Right, exactly.
So this is, say, if you can't, if you tried going to the beach and that's not working, this is trying to create an environment, an internal environment that
it promotes relaxation. And the other thing that acupuncture does is that it creates a very large endorphin release in the brain, and this is absolutely essential. Endorphins are your feel-good drugs, right? Are your feel-good chemicals in your body.
You know what? We'll leave it on the feel-good chemical theme here. We've got to take a really quick break, but for more information about Bina, if you're in the Berkeley area, call 510-393-7565. Or if you're in San Francisco, the number 415-441-5659. Or you can check her out on the web at binajangdalac.com. You'll also receive 10% off your first patient visit through August 15th when you mention Body Beautiful. We'll be taking your phone calls and continue our chat about acupuncture and infertility when we come back on Body Beautiful.
The information and advice given on this program is for general informational purposes only. For medical advice on specific treatments, medical professionals should be consulted. You should not initiate a course of treatment without consulting a qualified doctor. The opinions expressed on the program are those of the guests and not those of Cron TV, its management, employees, or advisors.
Welcome back to Body Beautiful. We are talking right now with Bina about using acupuncture to treat infertility. We're also going to be taking your calls with any questions you have for her about acupuncture or infertility. The phone number 800-440-4884. We'll also be posting the number for Bina's office during and at the end of the segment. And remember, any advice we give you today, you always want a second opinion. Okay, we left off with the feel-good chemical.
That's right.
Endorphins.
That's right.
Boy, everybody needs an endorphin
and
one time or another.
You definitely need endorphins if you want to get pregnant.
Well, isn't that part of the process?
That is actually part of the process, isn't it? Naturally it is, right?
Right.
But acupuncture will, if you're not, if you're under a lot of stress, you're not going to be producing a lot of endorphins. You're not. So if you need to relax, you need to do activities that are fun. And if you come to acupuncture because your life is stressed and you're not at that level, then acupuncture will release endorphins.
It does.
It does release endorphins in your brain. And that's why a lot of people come in stressed. They're on the table and inevitably they'll fall asleep or they'll go into a very relaxed state. They'll feel good when they get off the table. I don't know if everyone knows that about acupuncture.
Well, you know, I will say I have had acupuncture before and have had that experience. You almost, you know, it's almost like a little mini vacation.
Right.
You know, an hour on the table is, you know, like, I don't know if they actually measure that, if it's like the equivalent of several hours sleep. But
it could be. I don't know if they've measured
it's a very
it.
deep, you know, relaxed state.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain the endorphin thing.
So you release endorphins in your brain, and that triggers something called gonadotropin hormone, releasing hormone, which regulates your FSH and your LH.
Right.
So if you know anything about fertility,
this is like high school, you know, biology.
That's right.
Yes.
And so you need that. You need the FSH for the follicles to produce an egg, and you need the LH to keep the temperature high, for the egg to implant into the uterine lining, and to carry the baby to term.
Okay, now we're talking about a little science here, and you did bring a chart. I'm not sure if this references that, but go ahead and roll this chart.
Let's look at this chart. This chart refers to IVF success rate. So what they've
IVF being in vitro fertilization.
In vitro fertilization, which is a great technique. Its success rate is not. It reduces as you age. So if you're a 40-year-old woman going for IVF, you don't have as much of a success rate as someone who's under 35.
Okay, so the red, just because if you can't see, you know, to the right there, the red is IVF plus acupuncture. So
if you add acupuncture in with IVF treatments, you get a 45% higher success rate. So if you're under 35, that goes from a 40% success rate with IVF to it's a 55% a success rate.
Okay, that's pretty substantial.
It is substantial. If you look at it, if you're in your 40s to 42, it goes from 11 to 18%.
So obviously, the older you get, the slimmer your chances of conception and carrying to term.
For IVF help. Now, when we talk about acupuncture, we have two different kinds of age. You have chronological age and you have biological age. But chronological age, everyone ages at the same rate, right? With biological age, it varies from person to person. So the healthier you are, so some women who are already in their 40s have very healthy eggs and can conceive a baby no problem. Their success with IVF goes down. Okay. So that's different.
All right, we've got some phone calls. Do we have time to go ahead and take one of them? Lena from San Francisco, good morning. Do you have a question? You're on the air.
Hello, yes.
Hi, Lena. You have a question for Bina?
Yes. Oh, I'm quite thrilled by this and been reading a lot. So I want to know, does acupuncture heal other forms of ailments? And is it the new alternative facelift?
Oh, we've heard about that too. Okay, so we're moving on from infertility to more general kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay. you know, she did jump into the facelift.
That's okay, and that is, I'd say that half my population that I treat is for infertility. The other half, I've developed a facelift technique that is a combination of microcurrent essential oils and acupuncture, and it is working phenomenally well. So yes, it can help with that as well.
Okay, well, and this is something I don't know anything about, so very briefly about the facelift so we can answer Lena's question, and we have about 30 seconds.
Sure.
How does that work?
So we look at again, the biological aging. We slow down the biological aging. We do that by rebalancing the body systems. And then in addition to that, we work on the face. We work with the muscles on the face to help lift. So we work with trigger points where the muscles insert and where they end, or where they originate and where they end.